Hi everyone! Today we are going to be using Canva's record your screen option. So let's see what we can get done. Unit rates. Some examples include miles per hour, meters per second, price per ounce, or price per pound. Part A. Ashton's class gave 120 cans to the food drive for their school. If his class has 20 students and every student gave the same amount of cans to the drive, how many cans were given per student? Okay, so let's highlight information that's important. 120 cans. There are 20 students. Each student gave the same amount. Each student gave the same amount. Canva's failing a little bit. How many cans were given per student? I don't know why it's not letting me write. Okay, messy. So far, a little glitchy. Okay. So, we are wanting to see if we can do this. Cans per student. We are wanting cans per student. Okay. So another way to write this would be cans. Let's try drawing it. Try this. Another way to write this would be cans per student. So this is the fractional form. Cans per student. And again, it's going to be number of cans per one student. That's how the unit rates are, okay? So up here, it would be number of miles per 1 hour, number of meters per 1 second. And again, it's not letting me draw. It's very irritating. Okay, so in this case, we're just going to go ahead and having some trouble still. I don't know it's very tricky, Canva. It's glitchy. You need to fix that. I'm trying to use my touch screen and I'm getting nothing. And then there's, for some reason, this spot I am not allowed to write over. I don't know why. Will it let me go further? No. This whole spot, Canva doesn't let me write on. My mouse won't work. So I don't know. I'm about to just do this by hand, to be perfectly honest, and record myself writing. Yeah, this is rough. This is rough, Canva. All right, my touchscreen's working again. All right, so we're going to put 120 cans over 20 students. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us the number of cans per one student, okay? So we're just going to do 20 over 120 over 20 is the same thing as 120 divided by 20. If we're allowed to use a calculator, we can. Some teachers would prefer you to do it by hand. You should always know how to do things by hand, no matter what. But in the end, this equals 6 cans. And you can either put it here like this per student, or you can also write it 6 cans per student. You can also write it in words. All of that would be correct. So in words, 6 cans per student. Very choppy words, but that's okay. Okay, the important thing is 6 cans per student. Always make sure to write your units. You need to make sure that you are writing it correctly, all right? Because if it was asking us how many students per can, that would be a totally different answer. So we have to be very careful of where our units are going. All right, let's see if Canva will let me get to part 2 of this question. All right, well, that's good, but we can't see it. Here we go. Put it up there for us. Let's see what we can do. Back to our draw tool. All right, hopefully our draw tool. No, our draw tool is a little in the way. Let's move this, center it over here. There we go. Now our draw tool is not in the way. Okay. Part 2, or part B. Ashton's teacher encouraged all of her students to keep giving to the food drive. The next day, half of the students brought boxes of food to contribute. In total, there were 22 and a half boxes given. How many boxes were given per student? Okay, so we've learned that Canva doesn't really let me draw on these words when I'm in this mode, but I'm going to write next to here some of our important information. And actually, I'm going to use this purple because it's fun. So we have half the students that we originally had. And if we look back, we know that originally we started with 20. Canva's doing that thing again. Not letting me write in the middle of my board for some reason. 20 students. Okay, so we need to know what half of 20 students is. You might be able to do it in your head. If you are not able to do it in your head, there's 2 ways we can look at it. We can look at it like 20 times half. We can look at it like 20 over 2. And that is the same thing as 20 divided by 2. And if you didn't know it, I'm sure by now you figured it out. 10. Okay, so half the students would be 10 students. All right, so we have 10 students. And all together, they were giving us 22 and a half boxes. Don't know why Canva doesn't let me write in that middle part of the screen. And now I don't know how that got pulled up. So a few glitches, Canva. Few glitches. And on the right side of the screen, it really doesn't like that either. But okay, we'll keep going. So 22 and a half boxes. Now, we could do 22 and a half boxes, but that's going to get a bit complicated. So what I mean is, in this mixed fraction form, this is a little more complicated. So what we need to do is we need to turn it into an improper fraction, which is where there are larger number on the top, the numerator, and a small number in the denominator, okay? So the way we do that is we take the denominator, which in this case is 2, and I'm going to use a dot for our multiplication here, or what sort of looks like a dot. And we're going to times it by our whole number we have, which is 22. And then we're going to add our numerator, which is 1. Okay, and we're going to divide that whole thing by our denominator. If you need help with that part, I can make another video to explain a little better. So 22 times 2. Oops, I was about to write 22 times 2 again because I said it. Is 44. 44 plus 1 divided by 2, or over 2, some people say. And this is going to give us 45 over 2, or 45 divided by 2. Okay? We need this number so that way we can use it elsewhere. I'm trying to see if Canva will let me move this down a bit, but it doesn't look like there's a way. There's just a zoom in and out. So we are going to try to go with it. Okay, so this is a number we need. This is the boxes. It's just another form of the boxes. Okay, these are the same. All right. This is the students. That's the second number we need. So what's happening is we are going to be doing 45 divided by 2. We need to divide that whole thing by 10. This is the number of students. This is the number of boxes. It's just in a fraction, okay? So dividing by a number like this is also multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal means we're switching the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so let's write out what I'm saying. So 45 over 2, or divided by 2, times, I'll use an x in this case. Just be careful because this part of math, we start using x's for actual values that are unknown. So we don't want to confuse that and our multiplication sign, which is why I typically will use a dot if possible. But when you're writing on these tools, till I have a pen, it's not very easy. So times 10, okay? And 10, another way to write a 10 is 10 over 1. It's the fractional form. Technically, we don't usually write the 1 because it's not necessary. It's just more work, all right? But invisible 1 is there. I didn't mean to write multiplication there, guys. That was silly. Because I didn't flip it yet. Sorry. I'm going to flip it. Now we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal is 1 over 10. So what we did there was we flipped this and we changed that sign. Okay, so that sign changed into this multiplication. All right. And then it's because, guys, I got distracted with this whole pen situation and not being able to write circles and X's. And I promise I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so 45 times 1 is 45, and then 2 times 10 is 20, all right? So technically this would be our answer, but it's not a very pretty answer. Okay, so it's that many boxes per one student. Most likely, your teacher is going to want you to go one step further and change that back into your mixed fractional form. So if you have a calculator, you don't have to have a graphing calculator per se, but if you have a calculator that can create a fraction for you, it will do a mixed number. You also can use long division and multiplication to be able to get this answer for yourself. Depending on what level of school you're at, you'll most likely want to be doing this by hand. If you need help doing this by hand, that can be something we do in another lesson. Okay, so 45 divided by 20. Well, I know that there's going to be 2. It goes in 2 times, and there's going to be a leftover of 5. And we still have 20 as our denominator, okay? Now this can simplify further, right, to where we now have 2 1/4. 2 1/4 box per student. That's important. Box or boxes, I guess, technically, right, guys? I mean, per student, all right? Now, if we get to this point and we're like, did I do the math right? That was so much math, and I'm just not sure, then we can try to use Canva to figure out how to scroll down, which I guess we can't scroll down, but we'll just zoom out a little for some more space. And we're going to double check this. Okay, so 4 times 2 plus 1 over 4, and that gets us 9 over 4. 9 over 4. Okay, that's another way to be written. And if we multiply that all by 5, then we get 45 over 20, right? So I'm just reversing what I did before to check. Okay, 45 over 20. Now, what I need to know is if this times 10 students that we already have, because remember, this is our boxes. If we can take this and times it by 10, will we get 22 and a half boxes? That's what we need to know. And I don't like this pen right now. So 45 over 20 times 10 over 1. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of simplifying here so we don't have to use a calculator. All right, so 20 and 10 can both be divided by 10. So for 10, that would be 1. For 20, that would be 2. Okay? So that would give us 45 over 20. And again, that's what we had here. That's what we had here. All right, so it's just a way for us to check. Okay, if you struggled at any point in this video, leave a comment below and I can add some more content, especially with the fractions. It gets a little tricky. One thing I want to note before I log off here is that we want to pay attention to what number is on the top, what they tell us on the top, and that this is a 1. This unit is a 1, okay? Because the reason why, I have seen multiple different problems. Let me just type this out a little bit. Oh, yeah, not big enough. We're testing this too, right? So there we go. I've seen multiple problems. Canva, question mark. What's happening to you? Why can I not edit this? You have broken. Canva, you've broken. Okay. Canva's broken. Oh, yeah, okay. I have seen multiple questions where it'll say something like dollars per pound, right? But then it will also say pound per dollar. And that's something totally different. So we just want to pay very close attention. Don't know why it keeps tweaking out, guys. Just Canva glitched. Let unknown. There, Canva, you're glitching. So somebody needs to fix this a little bit. It's a little rudimentary for what we're trying to do in this presentation. But anyways, we just want to pay very close attention to the word problem. Want to ask us how many, what per what, okay? Dollars per pound is not the same as pound for dollars. Don't get tricked on that, okay?